got to be kind of quiet because I'm sitting in a coffee house waiting for my next appointment. It's actually Classic Rock Coffee in Springfield, Missouri. And if you've never been to Classic Rock, the next time you're in Springfield, you got to check this out. It's the original Classic Rock. They've got a great staff, great food. It's a great atmosphere. Come check it out. What I want to talk to you about today is how you can organize your entire life through this video. And that might sound a little bit like hyperbole, but if you stick with me, I've got a good track record, I think, and you'll find this to be true. It really helps people in two ways. For the achiever, it helps them to not neglect the areas of their life that they're not purposefully dedicated to or focused on in the moment, so that things don't get out of whack, so they stay in balance. It also helps the non-achiever who wants to be an achiever to really get motivated and to have clarity and focus on really where it is they want to go in their life. Now, in this video, in the training coming up, it's going to be a workshop, which means I'm going to, every once in a while, ask you to pause the video and do a really quick exercise. I can't guarantee that this will help you to organize your life if you just watch it through. And if you want to do that once, that's fine. But then you really need to get in front of a pen and paper, or preferably a computer, so that you can go through the workshop as we go through this. I'll have you pause 7 times, and there will be 7 tasks for you to complete, a minute each. So you organize your entire life in 7 minutes. This is legit. It's the real deal. If you just do it and go through it, I promise you it's going to help you to be more organized. You may want to download the blueprint at stonejordan.info because it's going to have all the information. It might make it a little easier for you to follow along, but really dig into this. You can make huge changes. You just have to have the right tools. So stay tuned for the training. I hope you have a great week this week. We'll talk to you there. Okay, so this workshop that we're going to do is going to utilize what I call the 7 F's of GAP. GAP meaning that there's where you are and there's where you want to go. And the different areas or categories are areas that every human, they're common denominator areas that every human wants to grow in. So if we know what those common denominators are, it really allows us to organize our lives. And they all happen to start with the letter F. Now, GAP also stands for gifts and progress. So we have these common denominator areas of progress, but you also have been given specific gifts. So these are the common denominator areas. You may find that you have an area that you want to add on your own. You'll want to customize this somewhat. But we're going to go through these 7 areas, and for each area I'm going to ask you to pause the video for 1 minute and write 2 to 3 sentences about that area. Don't really write any more than that for 2 reasons. Number 1, you want to get through this workshop. It's going to take a little bit of time. Number 2, this is something you're going to look at on a daily and weekly basis. And so if you have a paragraph for each of 7 areas, at least with my clients, research shows that people don't continue to do it. They do it for a short period of time, but if it takes too long, people fizzle out. So you want to keep it short and concise. Now, 1 or 2 of these areas you might want to make more than 1 or 2 sentences, but I'll kind of let you know as we go along what those areas are. This is going to be huge if you do this exercise because it will do what it promises, and it will help you to organize your entire life. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the 7 F's of GAP. The first F is faith. Faith. What do you want your relationship with your Creator to look like? Now, me as a Christian, faith is going to trickle down into every area of my life. My faith is going to determine what decisions I make in different areas. So it's all encompassing, but we want to give it an area simply so we have a category that we can use for metrics, okay, to grow and move forward. So the first F is faith. What do you want your relationship with your Creator to look like? Okay, what type of a spiritual person do you want to be? As a Christian, I look at it like Okay, if I was being the best Christian I could be, way off into the future when I've grown and matured spiritually, what does that look like? Pause the video now and write 2 or 3 sentences to explain what you want that to look like. Okay, now that you're back, family is the second F. Okay, this is one that may take more than 2 or 3 sentences because it's going to involve multiple people. To give you an example, when I look at this every day, I actually have a category for family, but I also have a category for my spouse. Even though they're similar, it's important enough for me to pull that out so I can create metrics for my relationship with my spouse and with my family. But for now, just write down sentences for each of those areas that you feel are important. Specifically, what do you want your relationship to look like with your spouse if you're married? And you write a couple of sentences. What do you want your relationship to look like with your children at its best? And you write a few sentences if you have children. What do you want your relationship to look like with your parents, with your siblings, and very close lifelong friends that you consider family? For each of those, at its peak, at its best, what do you want that relationship to look like, and who do you want to be at your best in that relationship? Pause the video and write, 4 or 5 sentences now. Okay, the third F is friends. Now, I usually limit this to my closest friends, to my mentors, to my mentees, people who are very close to me. My advice would be to cut it off at 5. Like your 5 closest friends that don't fall under your family category. So, what do you want that relationship to look like at its very best? Who do you want them to see you as at your very best? Who do you want to be in your relationships with your friends? Pause the video and write that out now, 2 or 3 sentences. Okay, now the fourth F is fitness. Okay. What do you want your body to look like at its peak? What do you want your health to be? What do you want to feel like at your peak? How much energy do you want to have? What do you want your health to be like? Pause the video, write 2 or 3 sentences now. Okay, the fifth F is finance, and this really has 2 parts. First of all, what do you want to know about money that you don't already know? What do you want to know about your finances so that you can be a good steward of finances? What does it mean to be a good steward of your finances? What do you want to contribute in order to be a good steward? And then the second part is, what do you want that final dollar amount to be? What do you want the peak of how much you earn to be? Get specific in both of these areas. For finance, write 2 or 3 sentences. Pause the video now. Okay, the sixth F is fulfilling career. Fulfilling career, or we could say field of expertise, because some of you are employees, some of you are entrepreneurs, some of you work for yourselves. What do you want your field of expertise to look like? How do you want others to see you as a professional? What is it that you want to know, and how much do you want to know at the very peak within your specific field? Take a minute, write 2 or 3 sentences now. Okay, finally, the seventh F of GAP is fun. Because we can't always be running, we can't always be blowing and going. We have to take time to relax and reset. Okay, at its very best, what does that relaxation look like? And what does it do to you? How does it rejuvenate you so you're able to reset? Who do you want to spend that time with? Where might you want to go on vacation? What is the very pinnacle of fun and relaxation for you? What hobbies do you have? Condense that down to 2 or 3 sentences. Pause the video now. Okay, so you've gone through faith, family, friends, fitness, finance, fulfilling career, and fun. Now, you've gone through this exercise. You may want to, at a later date or as soon as this video ends, just to go back and, clean up your typos and really hone this thing so it looks nice and you're able to go back to it, because anybody can do this workshop and it takes a very short period of time. You've now organized your life into these specific areas, and that allows you to have clarity as to really who you are and where you're going and where you want to go moving forward. But anybody can do that exercise. The most important thing, the key thing, is what you're going to do, the 7-day challenge you're going to take for this week. And that is this: every day before you start your day, review and read these couple of sentences for each of your 7 F's of GAP, and determine for each category if there are any actions you need to create, any tasks or to-dos you need to create that are going to help you to move forward within that area. Do that every single day. Read what you've written for that ultimate goal or outcome. Decide if you need an action or task for faith. Then you move to family. Read that outcome. Decide if there's any actions or tasks that you need to complete in order to grow within that area, and so on and so forth till you've gone through all 7 areas. Now, if you do that and you do it for every single day this week, I guarantee you, especially if you've never really had any plan to get focused in the past, you won't just do that this week. You will continue to do that every single day, and it's going to move you forward to where you want to go. It's all about intentionality. It's one of the 4 pillars of time management. Getting intentional about what's most important so you're moving, you're focused, and you're moving in that direction. Hey, I'm on your side. You need to do this exercise. Do it for your future and move forward. And I'm excited to hear about what you've done and what you've accomplished because of going through this exercise. You can leave a comment below at stonejordan.info. Let me know maybe what are some categories for you specifically that I've mentioned, areas that you have gifts in or want to make progress in. Leave that below and let me know how you're going to use this. Remember, my friend, that this week is a gift, so utilize this every day and do 2 things this week: be purposeful and productive. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Go get them with this task, and we'll talk to you next week.